Hey, it's Willie here. I'm going to start spraying some doors here, and I thought I'd make a video on how I did it. I used to use a turbine unit, but I discovered that I like this a lot better in HVLP. One of the things that I see people talking about on the internet and a lot on the forums is that you know, they use cheaper guns and they say they just get just as good as results. I haven't. I've also used a very expensive turbine unit, and it's just not versatile enough for me personally. I like the convention guns, or the conversion guns, and one of the things that I don't hear people talk about too much is this regulator right here. This is key for me. I use this a lot to dial in the pressure. This is HVLP, so I'm running this at about 5 or 6 pounds right now. That's the cup pressure. People get confused with this. They think they could run these really small compressors with these guns and get the same quality of finish, or it's as versatile as that of a larger compressor. It's not. So you only need 4 or 5 pounds of pressure in the pot, but I'm using 1/4-inch hose. They don't recommend it, and I have probably about 70 feet of hose running to my compressor right now, which is on the other side of the shop. So you have a pressure drop. So I have the pressure set at the compressor at 70 pounds, which it seems like about 50, 55 pounds is coming through this line. So that's the pressure that's coming out this air cap. But it's only 4 or 5 pounds in there. Again, I just dial it in right here. With this, I got it set at 6 pounds. And once you set this in and clean it up, it's golden. Once you get this set up, it's golden. And I just want to show you how I spray. I'm going to bore you to death here for a minute. I'm going to show you how I spray. These are shaker drawer fronts, and I got some shaker doors over here. And I'm just going to show you like how I basically do it. I stay with the grain when I'm spraying. I always keep a test thing next to me. This is the side of an armoire that's going to be against the wall. It's built in, so you won't see it. So I always give my first shot there. And you can't really see it because there's already a build on that side of the cabinet. That thing will have like 4 or 5 coats by the time I'm done. But again, you won't be able to see that. So one of the first things I do when I do one of these drawers is they've been sanded. A lot of people hit these things with tack cloths. I blow them with air. I have 2 whole house vents right here. I got this one from the dumps, and this was the one on the bottom is a floor dryer I bought from Home Depot. I just built a box. I put it in my sliding glass door. And I keep the work right next to it. So if you were to walk, like, you can't see behind the camera, but there's drying racks with a lot of doors on them. But if you were to walk like 5 or 10 feet on the other side of those drying racks, you can't smell this at all. So this is very, very efficient, homemade, and I like it. And you can see I did some white doors last week, and that's why I got white on the Hawaii t-shirt. There's filters behind that, but I just like to use a t-shirt first. So one of the things I do is I just disconnect this from the gun, and right next to me, in this case right over here next to me, I have just a blower. And I don't know if you can see this on the video, but a lot of dust blows out of this wood, and it's oak, so it's very porous. I don't know if you can see that dust blowing off of here. Let me see if I can give you a better shot of it. Let me try and zoom in here. And what I do is I basically just go across the door like that. And basically get all the dust off the door. Then I go basically right back to my gun, take the end off, and basically start spraying. Now, this stuff is caustic. Okay, this is an ultra solids lacquer. It was catalyzed yesterday. I got 30 days to use it. It's very hard, so good respirator is in order. I was not going to use the respirator just to show you how I spray this, but I think I'm going to. And it's very simple, you know. This thing costs $40. It's nothing out of the ordinary expensive. You probably can't hear me now, but again, what I do is I kind of go with the grain. And I'm just overlapping, and then because I got grain running different ways, I just go down one more time on the ends. I normally hit my edges first, but because I'm making this video, I kind of panicked and didn't. So, let me just hit those. Lacquer is very forgiving. And a lot of people don't know that about lacquer. You don't want to coat it on too heavy, just a light coat, and you can see. Here's another door. I always check them right before I spray them. And what I have here in this area is I happen to have a Festool sander right here. And you see my guys, I had a guy sand these for me, and he kind of missed a spot. So I always like to have that sander and the vacuum right here. The next thing I do is I just spray them with some air. Just give them a really good blast. I'm gonna try and zoom this in one more time so maybe you can see the dust, I don't know. I go around the outside first. Just give them a blast of air, then I just take this off, go right here next to me, and I just do this one here. You can see how there's very little overspray with the HVLP. A lot of guys are concerned about wasting the material. I don't really concern myself with that too much. That's not why I went to HVLP. I just like the control of it. The main grain of this panel is running long ways, so that's the way I spray. And again, I overlap. I start on the end, I go slowly, keep the same speed, this way to get an even build all the way along. This door is a little bit warped, it's been sitting for a while. And then again, I go just to get that. And that's how fast the door gets sprayed. That's one of the beauties of spraying. Now, what you didn't see was my 2 hours of setup it took to get here, and you know, the 6 to 8 hours of sanding that Manuel did. But you kind of get the picture on that. And then I have these drying racks. I inspect the doors one last time because this really is it. Take my air nozzle, put it through, I go around the edges, then I get my nooks and crannies really good. And again, in particular oak, I like to hit it with air because it's very grainy. It's got a lot of, you know, if you looked at it under a microscope, it would look like mountains. Then this is a CA Technologies gun. I have a Binks gun also. But I catch myself grabbing for this gun so much. I think it's got a lot to do with the regulator, is why I use it so much. I just pop that right off, and in one motion I just set this down, and the air is hooked up already. It's not very, very even, but I'm going to sand this whole thing in a little bit with some 320 grit or 400 grit wet sandpaper, and that's going to be the deal. Here comes another one. I'm no video production guy. I'm just a carpenter. And you can see where there's still glue in that tenon. So I always like to have a sander with a vacuum very close. I'm lucky enough to have this Fest tool. Little burn. You would think you would be able to vacuum up the dust off these, but really, compressed air is the way to go. And again, I do this right here because the fan is right there, so it's taking the dust outside, you know? So, I don't even know if you guys have been seeing these, but here you go. So, let me show this again. Then the grain of the door is running long ways, so that's the way I spray. I do the ends first. A friend of mine's a professional painter, and I remember when I was spraying one time, he's like, get some product on there. I was so worried about putting too much on there that I wasn't getting anything done. And for me, me spraying these doors isn't so much that I'm making this video, because that's what I do. I do videos for the internet. I do this for a living. This happens to be for my wife, which makes it even more critical, because she's been waiting a while, and I gotta live with her. So she's finally getting her armoires after all these years. I'm going to spray a couple more doors. There's only 2 more left. I sprayed, I think, 20 already before I decided to make a video. Again, it's really fast. It's not... It's all preparation, this stuff. It's really fast. Spraying these doors. I like to get the crannies get in there, because when you're spraying, you don't want to be knocking up dust and it gets stuck in your finish. And then you're sanding that out, and when we're done, we want to be done. But you could, if you're listening to the gun, I don't know if you could hear it. It's not very loud like a conventional gun. It's HVLP. It's a lot softer, a lot less overspray. this is the way I like it. Sometimes I gotta make myself slow down a little bit, because I've been behind schedule for about 10 years now. Then I just disconnect this. You see there's still pressure in the gun. It's okay. I automatically hook the air up thing right now, and then I come back and I grab my door. And this is just my system of doing it. There are other ways, right, wrong, I don't know. This is just the way I do it. I know they're all critics out there, but I can say this, I really need to get stuff done. I want to show you, I want to move this camera. I just want to show you. That's oak. I'm going to show you why it is that I personally like, organic lacquers. I don't really like the waterborne coatings because they don't warm up the finish enough for me. Again, this is the side of a cabinet that's not going to be seen. It's going to be up against the wall. It's a built-in. Let me get it back. Let me get it back a little further so you can see this whole thing. Excuse me, I know this is probably making people seasick. I know this is a don't do. But if you see the color of the oak, let's see. I'm trying to get that color there for you because I want to show you the difference that an organic finish does relative to a waterborne. Now some people like the crystal clearness. These things are very tall, by the way. These are, I gotta reach up 8 feet for this. But even in this one coat, you can see how it just makes it warmer. Waterborne might look like that at first, but then it just clears. These solvent-based lacquers retain this, and it actually, the more coats, it gets a little deeper and deeper. Some people rub out lacquer. I don't really rub it out. I just spray it and I want to be done. One of the things about woodwork and finishing woodwork is it's not finished till it's finished. And I know a lot of guys start projects and don't finish them. And they go on forever. And guess what? You just really have to get it done. So, those are some of the doors. I actually sprayed a lot of doors before I started this video. So I want to turn this around and show you the drying racks, which are kind of worth the price of admission. Let me just show you the setup I got here. Give me 1 second. Very simple to make drying racks. They sell commercial drying racks. These are the ones I like. They're basically just some plywood nailed together. I think it's 9 or 10 inches screwed in there, and they just make for fantastic drying racks. It's phenomenal how much you could hold. Just to give you an indication of what that oak, let's see. This door I sprayed a while ago. You can see the depth of the oak, the color of the oak. And it just gets golden. I mean, Minwax actually sells a stain called golden oak. So I like it, I like it. Some guys don't like oak. I do. And, that's what I use. So, there you go. That's the start of my video.